How y'all doing? Welcome back to the channel. Had some technical difficulties earlier. I had to restart the live. I was doing my real estate live earlier, so everything on the stream y'all was set up for the real estate. So I had to delete it and kind of start from scratch. So yeah, I haven't posted that much on this Survive and Thrive channel. I've been steadily busy though, so I thought I'd drop a video just to get back acclimated since I've been getting more into the live streaming content. So this is easier for me where I don't have to edit no videos and spend a whole bunch of hours after I get through hustling throughout the day. And so today's topic, man, I really want to touch on something that I get in the comments all the time when people reaching out when they find the channel. People still ask the questions about what apps you're using, what contracts you have. Y'all hear all the questions. You see all the videos, you hear all the questions. So for me, I want to just break this down and start over from the beginning. A little bit about myself. I've been in this industry for about 4 years. I started off over the road, stayed over the road for about a year. Then I started doing local logistics. Did local logistics for about a year, maybe a year and a half. Then I went back over the road, and now I currently do local. So how I got into the industry was I was watching YouTube like everybody else. I saw who was this guy? DG Got Hustle was, I think, the guy who I think his name DG Got Hustle. I don't even know if he posts videos anymore, but that was the person who introduced me to the cargo van industry. Whatever, he was based out of Cali, and so I was watching bro, and man, he had a lot of information on there. He talked about Curry and getting your authority, and and doing over the road stuff. So that's the lane I took. I got my LLC started. Actually, I already had an LLC that I was using for something else, and I just took that LLC and went and got my authority with that LLC. So my LLC was Caribe Sport, which has nothing to do with logistics, but it was just I already had the LLC. So I was like, man, I'm not gonna go pay, more money and get more bank accounts, with different LLC just to have a different LLC. So that's how I got started. So I got my authority. I did it on myself. I watched a YouTube video on how to do your authority. I watched that video and I paused it when I need to pause it, but I literally had the video up and I had the website up for the to get my authority, to fill out the application for the authority. So I did all that. Got the quotes for the insurance. The insurance wasn't it was bad, but it wasn't like I heard some horror story. So I think my insurance quote was I want to say I was paying I had to put a down payment down. Down payment was like man, I think it was like 4,000. I think 4,000 was the down payment, and I was paying like 1,100 a month. And that I think that was it. And so that's what I did. I got the $1 million policy. I did everything they said in the video. At the $1 million policy, I had when I got cargo van, I got a newish pre-owned cargo van. My cargo van was used, but it had 4,000 miles on it. So I financed that. I went and got the cargo van. I put down $1,000, I think, on the cargo van. So I literally put down $1,000 plus the $4,000 I had to put down for the insurance. So my initial investment into the industry is about $5,000. And I think that's it. I got my authority. First thing I did was I signed up for Curry as a carrier. I signed up for a couple other places I found off Indeed, Fox Carry, some other places like that. And nothing was like it was on the internet. I had a little success, but nothing was really like what they said on the internet. So the main thing that I took from that, I watched the content. I thought I understood what I was doing, but nothing prepared me for what I was getting myself into, because I learned within like the first 30 days, like, man, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to survive. You know what I'm saying? Because like, now, 30 days and went by, and I think I done like one load or something like that at the time, and all the carriers that I was using, they didn't tell me how to bid. I was thinking like, yeah, okay, I just want to, it was asking me, they would call me and they would ask me, what do you want to bid on this? I didn't know anything about like what I should be bidding, what was the average rate per mile, whatever the people was getting and stuff. It wasn't no help, what I'm saying, when I got started. So it was just me just figuring it out, and so, long story short, man, like, I had signed up for every local logistic company at that time, because I realized like I needed more than just one person giving me loads, because I needed to make sure the van was moving. And so, let's go back for a second. A key thing of how I got started. Um, the van. I wanted to make sure I didn't have that much debt, right? So like when I got the van, I made sure that I was able to trade in the vehicle that I had in order to get the van, because you didn't want, I didn't want to go into it having too much debt. I already knew that I was gonna have a van note, so I didn't want to have a van note and a car note. And my baby mom does not work, so I take care of all the household bills and stuff. So I didn't want to add another bill on. I was comfortable hustling the way I was hustling, taking care of everything I needed to take care of. So I didn't want to add another $700 to $1,000 on top of what I was already paying. So I made sure, before I got the van, I was like, yo, if y'all can't take the trade in, because they didn't want to do the trade in at first. And I was like, yo, if y'all can't take the trade in, then I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just walk, and they ran my credit and everything. It was like, you got to put down more or whatever. I was like, bro, all I got is 1,000. You know what I'm saying? I told them I got to pay 4,000 or so, down with the insurance company or whatever. I can't give you no more bread, bro. I got $1,000 for you. You either take it or leave it. And so they act like they didn't want to do it. They wanted to squeeze some more money, but once I got up and started walking out of the dealership, bro, it's like, okay, nah, cool, we good, we can do it, we can do it. And I think they made me put down like, they just wanted something. They made me buy like the what was it, the Gap insurance or whatever. Well, I was gonna get that anyway, so they ain't really get anything. So I got the Gap insurance or whatever. So that was something that really helped me out, because it was just like me having my car. Yeah, I was paying a little bit more, but it was really just like me having my car. I didn't have that extra expense, so I wasn't paying the van note on top of the vehicle that I currently had. I was just paying the van note in lieu of the car note that I had before. So yes, with the added insurance, the insurance was a lot more expensive with the commercial insurance, but I realized that I didn't need the $1 million policy um, just to be active with my authority until I was going over the road when they asked for $1 million policy. So Curry was only asking for your authority to be active. And so the guy was like, why don't you, decrease it to the $750,000 policy, and that way you won't be paying as much. So that decreased my monthly payment by like $400. I think I was paying like $700 at the time. And so I'm just trying to figure it out. So I'm really just like, like, damn, I done got myself into the situation. Kyrie's doing okay, but I'm thinking I'm gonna be making like, $2,500, $3,000 a week. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm looking like, dang, I'm not seeing the money. I'm not seeing where all this where all the bread everybody was talking about was coming from. So man, my older brother, man, he had a friend in Atlanta. He was like, "Won't you link up with Lamar?" He was like, "Man, Lamar got a trucking company, and I think he just got hooked up with somebody, and they doing like the cargo van stuff." So I was like, "Hey, send me his info." So I called him. He hooked me. He hooked me up. we was working for a company. He was working for a company called Ascent. Man, and that company was based out of Michigan. They had contracts in the automotive industry or whatnot. So, but the thing was, they wanted you to have a couple years experience driving, right? Because this is like, top of the line freight. Like it's like auto industry, GM, John Deere, Lucid. They had dedicated contracts, so it wasn't like you was looking for loads. They had their own dispatchers, but it was just in the auto industry. So it was A1. So he was like, no, just go through me and I'm gonna be your resume. So that's how I ended up getting in, right? I had driving experience because like my background, when I retired from the police department, like I mean, that's considered commercial driving. Like I was doing like 15 hours a day driving around the city in a commercial vehicle, even though it was a car, but it's still considered a commercial vehicle. And so I technically still had the experience, but I didn't want to, sit another day, right? Like I was making okay money, enough to pay I was making enough money to pay the van note and the insurance with through Curry, but it wasn't nothing close to like what I thought I was gonna be making, right? So I ended up signing a leased on with Ascent, got on with Ascent, and the day I got on with Ascent, the day everything changed, right? I started went to the orientation. The day I got out of the orientation, they had me running. Now it wasn't like everybody's thinking like you running every day. With Ascent, it was different, right? I was doing like on average like 2, maybe 3 loads a week, but the loads were long. Like I said, I had a mentor going into it, so he was telling me like, bro, don't do the running around where you consistently got to get a load every day. You just wait on the longer one. So the way they work, the auto industry is up in that Michigan, Ohio, Iowa, Chicago area. So you got a lot of GM plants, John Deere. Um, those are the main ones, GM and John Deere up in Iowa, Michigan, Illinois, and Ohio. Bunch of GM plants out that way, and John Deere plants in Iowa. And then in Lucid had a warehouse in Atlanta. It was just the auto industry all on it, like some on the East Coast, but GM was the main one. So he was telling me just to wait for the loads going from Michigan down to Laredo. Everything was going to the border. So that was what we was waiting on. Like every week we would just sit there for like 2 days. If you get something going to Laredo was going to be paying like close to $1,500. So you make that 1,500 and then you get down to Laredo. Let's say you get the load on Monday from Michigan to Laredo, make that 1,500. I can sit for a day or two because everything coming from Laredo is going to be $1,000 plus. Even if you going to Nashville, which was not Nashville, Spring Hill. Spring Hill had a large GM facility where a lot of stuff went to. But if you went back up to the Illinois, Michigan area, you're gonna make another 1,500 or whatnot. So you could easily make $3,000 a week just doing 2 loads, or bare minimum 2,000 a week or whatnot. But it was just a lot of long loads that I was doing. And so I got used to that. But I was still doing real estate at the same time, right? So for me, I was trying to go home every week. I was trying to make it at home. So what I found out about the Spring Hill joint and the plants over toward like South Carolina, because you get some stuff going South Carolina as well. And so I was trying to get anything going over that way so I can get back to Florida for the weekend, because like I was still trying to do real estate showings. I had active clients I was using my teammates for and stuff. And so it was a hustle, but it was a struggle because like I'm making money, at this time I'm like, man, I'm doing what I want. I set out to do with the van, right? I'm making 2,500 to 3,000 every week, but I'm on the road. And it all came to a head when I was like, I had to give up, I think I had, how much was it? Was like 14. I gave up like $7,000 one day. So I had a deal that was finna go down. I kept telling the dispatch, yo, I gotta get back towards Florida by Friday, because I gotta be at a closing. I got to be at a walkthrough, then a closing, for this week. And so it's Tuesday. And they say no problem, and so what happened was Tuesday came, Tuesday went. Now it's Wednesday. Now I'm still sitting. And I'm in Dallas. I'm in Dallas. And so it's like, okay, Wednesday come and they give me some, but everything is going away. Like nothing's going towards like Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, nothing. Everything is going north or California, something like that. From where I was at, it was like weird. I never got anything on to California or New York until the week I was trying to get home. So they kept trying to send me out the way. So I was like, I just got up and the dispatch know, hey, take me out of service, and I drove, and I drove home, and that week I ended up making it back home, but I still had to split the deal with my coworker and stuff. And so when you working all week to make $3,000, but then you end up having a nice deal that's coming through in real estate, but you had to split it with your teammate because like they had to do some showings for you, walkthroughs and this and that, and you like, okay, you rather get half the deal than the client walk, right? So like, dang man, that's 2.5 weeks of working over the road, $7,000. And so I ended up giving up $7,000 to a coworker just because of that deal. And so that's what made me go home and try to figure out something locally, because I was like, well, I can't like keep giving up deals like this, because the way the real estate was going at that time, like it was lucrative to be somewhat proactive. You know what I'm saying? I was doing marketing, I was doing my phone calls, but I was on the road, and so that was the thing. I was trying to use my teammates in order to make it seem like I was always available, but I was really always gone. Like I was always on the East Coast or up in Michigan or Iowa or Texas somewhere, and I would always put everything off to the weekend. So I always try to get back home by the weekend. So I realized quickly that you couldn't really make no money like that. You couldn't really make a lot of money by trying to be home on the weekend. So it went from me making started off good, making like $2,000 to $3,000 a week, to me doing like one load, then coming home, because I was like, as soon as I got to Tennessee or something like that, I would just go home, because I was just trying to make sure I was home for the weekend or whatever, so I could do my real estate. But I ended up starting to try to figure out some stuff locally. Remember, I signed up for all these local gig apps back when before I got the cargo van and stuff. So I had all access to all this stuff. So I just came home and I just tried to figure it out. And I was really diving into all the apps that was available locally, Curry, Dispatch, Bungie, Freight, Airspace, everything you can think of, Roadie, GoShare, everything that was local. I was like, let me figure out what I can do locally to stay home and figure this out, because I can't keep going over the road and losing money, And so I decided at that point I was gonna stay home, and then I started focusing more on the local stuff. And so I got it to a point locally where I was, I was making decent bread. I ain't gonna lie, I was making like I started off somewhere averaging between like 1,500. Yeah, I would say when I first got back, I was averaging like 1,500 a week. But the expenses from over the road was way cheaper. I mean, was way more than it was locally, right? I wasn't spending $500 a week in gas no more. Now I was down to spending like 150 in gas a week versus 500 a week. The insurance, I didn't need the $1 million policy insurance no more. Well, the insurance was different. So when I got with Ascent, I didn't have my insurance anymore, because Ascent had super good insurance because they had airplanes. And what the airplanes did was allow the insurance quotes for the cargo vans to be super cheap. So I think we was only paying like, I mean, honestly, like I think $40 a week for insurance. Like it was like the lowest. I mean, you'll be shocked how cheap of insurance we had with Ascent for the $1 million insurance policy. And so it's a no-brainer to get rid of the insurance. So I didn't have the commercial insurance anymore. So when I went home, I was just paying NIH my regular insurance. But remember, I got with Curry as a carrier, not as a courier. So the difference is with the carrier, you got to have active authority. And so about 6 months after I got home, Curry did an audit, and they was like basically sent me an email saying I had 30 days, whatever, to update my carrier status. Otherwise, I was gonna be inactive with carrier. Now, mind you, during this time I've been working, they had sent me over an email to start the process as a courier, but I didn't think to do it because I'm already active with them as a carrier. And so this came back to bite me when I got home, because Curry was probably one of the highest paying ones that I had at the time. And so 6 months after I got home, I started the local. Like I said, I was making like $1,500 a week with the apps. But Curry came in, and now I could no longer do Curry. So now I'm back to square one. So now I'm like, man, dang, now they took like a big chunk of what I was doing locally out of the play. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, I'm just like, bro, I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? And so I took another stand. I was like, I'm just gonna have to I'm gonna have to just lock in, you know what I'm saying? So I'm making money with real estate, I'm making money in the cargo van, but again, it's not consistent like I wanted. Over the road was cool when I was doing truly over the road, when I was staying out for weeks at a time. And it wasn't until I tried to do both real estate and logistics, when I was trying to be home every week, being over the road, that it became a problem. And so once I decided, let me just lock in on one, on over the road real quick. So let me run up a bag, get everything straight, and then with real estate, I'm just gonna have to defer. You know what I'm saying? Like when I get clients or whatnot, I'm just gonna have to defer them to teammates. You know what I'm saying? And that way I can keep the income consistent, bro. Because like when you got people at the house, nobody working with you, like you can't have the inconsistency, because real estate, you might have a deal this month and you might have another deal 3-4 months down the road. Like it's super inconsistent with real estate. So you can't really depend on that unless you 100% diving into it. But like real estate, you got to invest a lot of money into lead generating and things like that in order to make the bread. So it's like, you got to pick your poison. You want to go out here and make this consistent bread, or you want to spend a ton of money up front and just hope, and pray that people going to get pre-approved and use you as they realtor. So it's a lot of stuff that go into it. And so I was like, man, F it, bro. I'm just gonna go over the road this time. And this time I'm staying out 3 weeks no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So I went out for my second stint over the road. Now everything great. Everything like it should have been. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm making my 2,500, 3,000 a week consistently, coming home every month, like once a month, coming home. Man, everything was great. Did that for like a year. Real estate, same thing. Like I would get my clients, if I had to do showings, whatnot. We had this new app called Showami, so I could have people to do the showings for me. I could have teammates do the showing for me. Everything was done from laptops. You know what I'm saying? Working deals from my cell phone or whatnot. And so it was easy. Everything was good that year. That was like one of the best years I had. I think I did. Oh my God, I know I did like 140 in real estate, and then I did like another 80 in logistics that year or whatever. So that was like the year where I really was like grinding. And then it come this year, you know what I'm saying? And I had to make a decision. I was like, bro, I want to get back more. One thing about real estate, man, real estate allows you to have that income that once you start getting like 1 or 2 deals and them overlapping clients or whatnot. Like I see people that's in my industry that's, like they consistently probably making like close to 200 bands, you know what I'm saying, just for real estate, with active real estate. Logistics is always going to be that stepping stone, not stepping stone, it's always going to be that rock where you have consistency and your income, but you got to figure out a way. For me, you got to. I was like, you got to figure out a way to do both. You can't just like let one fall off and just do the logistics. Yeah, the logistics is cool, but it's not gonna take the place of you getting, those $12,000 to $15,000 checks every month, from real estate. You know what I'm saying? Why not do both? You know what I'm saying? And so that's when I was like, last June, I think it was Juneteenth, I came home Juneteenth, and it just something hit me. I was like, man, the one thing I never did when I was local, I never worked like I was over the road when I was local. Like when I was local, I always just go in. Like I used to work, I used to predetermine like, yo, I'm gonna make such and such amount of money today, and then I'm going home. You know what I'm saying? I had my minimum. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make $300 or $400, whatever. That's my minimum, and then I'm gonna go home today or whatever. I want to make 1,500, 2,000, whatever week. Then I'm, you know what I'm saying? That's all I was looking for. So I was like, why don't I just stay out? Why don't I use the same? Like when I'm over the road, like I'm gone for 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? I'm up in the van, sleeping in the van, parked at the Luz or the what's other truck stop? Any of the truck stops we parked at. But we kicking it out there. We out all times of night. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no such thing as no hours when you're over the road. So I decided let me work local like I was doing over the road. And so what I did was I came home. I had no more hours. I was like, yo, I'm finna get up, set my alarm clock for 4 in the morning, so I can be out the house by like 5 a.m., start early, finish late. You know what I'm saying? Then it went from I did that, I did a test that week. And I was like, man, I ain't want to, I ain't gonna lie, I made like 3 bands that week. It was I had that was a time when Rody had these cross stocks for Home Depot that was starting at 2 p.m. 3 p.m. So you had and they was guaranteed $200, but it was Home Depot. So when you go to the cross stock, you was getting 2 of these routes, and you was making on average, like anybody who knew about the Orlando cross stocks back then, when they had first got started with the 3 p.m. Home Depot, you was making like $400 to $500 on those afternoon Home Depot routes, because all those generators and those big old, I mean, they was paying for those routes. I mean, not even cheap, but you was making, so I personally was averaging about $600 a day. I would do like $300 before I even got to the cross dock. And then when I got to the cross dock, I knew I was getting at least 200, but every time I got my route, I was always like, I'd probably say I was averaging about 350 in the afternoon. So that week when I went home, I was averaging close to $600 every single day. I made over $3,000 that week, and that was like one of my biggest. My biggest week over the road was 3,500, and so that was close to my biggest week ever in logistics. So I was telling my boys, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna come back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if they keep the cross out like this, where I could work in the afternoon and in the morning, I'm gonna just keep running it up. Like I said, I was getting up at 4 in the morning, getting out the house by 5. I was coming in by 9 p.m. That still was better than me being over the road, sleeping in the van. I'm sleeping in my own bed, getting home by like 9:30, 10 p.m., depending on where I was coming back from. And so once I got the mentality that I was going to work local, like over the road, everything changed for me. And then like, even when the cross dot died off with Rody and I wasn't doing the cross dot no more, it was still other stuff that filled that space, taking the airspace loads late in the afternoon. Those pay up, $300-$400 depending on where you're going. Getting up early, doing Sunrun orders, solar panels, doing Sherwin-Williams orders throughout the day, doing Home Depot orders, doing Lowe's orders. I mean, everything. Like I just stopped doing. I just stopped worrying about the time, and everything started working. You know what I'm saying? So it's been like that for over a year now. And I haven't worked the weekends yet. You know what I'm saying? And I'm making on average about I don't know about 8. Where we at 62? We at 62,000 for the year right now. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm not working weekends and still at $62,000, and this is me working local, and I'm home most days of the week. I'm home at like 3 o'clock, an afternoon, unless I get a longer load going out to, South Florida, some or Jacksonville, where it's gonna take me a few hours to get back home. Then I'm home at like 3 o'clock on average. So if you want to know really how to survive your first year in logistics, this the keys to success. You have to come into the industry the correct way. You can't. I suggest that you do not have multiple vehicles. If you're trying to start a cargo van business, and you're trying to stay local, just understand that whatever vehicle you have now, you can sign up for these apps. They'll let you know if they even bringing on people right now. A lot of people get waitlisted. They go get the van, then figure out they can't do local logistics with these apps that everybody else been using and talking about on social media, because they're no longer bringing on drivers until they have an increase in need for drivers in the area. So keep what you got. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're trying to do local, just keep what you got. Try to sign on with as many apps as you can. See if they gonna let you on. If you get on with at least, I would say if you get on with at least two of the apps that everybody's using, whether it's any combination of two apps, you should be fine enough to make a decent money. But you just know you're gonna have to hustle. It's not like over the road where you don't have to hustle. Local, you gotta hustle. Ain't no such thing as you just don't be local and you just gonna run up the bag and you're not hustling. Like, we got so many people local that's ready to get this bread. So if you're gonna stay local, just know you're gonna have to hustle. But I recommend that if you're gonna stay local, sign up for whatever apps, whatever companies you're trying to sign up for before you go out and purchase anything. Use what you got. And then once you decide to go out and get a vehicle, try to trade in what you have to purchase a Sprinter van to eliminate the debt. That is what's going to kill you. You're going to get yourself in a situation where you're going to be trying to outwork. You're going to be trying to work to compensate for all the debt you have. Whereas when you have less debt, you're not forced to go out and try to do $2,000-$3,000 a week because you don't have that much debt. You know what I'm saying? It's got people who make it $1,500 a week and they able to save money every month because they just don't have that much debt. You know what I'm saying? And so don't have that much debt going into it. So if you're going to be local, sign up for everything you need to sign up for. There's plenty of apps out there. I think I'm on like 8 different apps or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I use a combination of everything all day long. Yeah, there's no such thing as one app over the other. Like whatever comes through, I try to make sure that I'm staying out until I make enough money to where I feel like I can meet my weekly goals with the amount of money, that I made today. And so over the road, to me, I suggest if you're trying to do this, bro, be prepared to go over the road. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go over the road, the best way to get started is just to be a driver for somebody. Just see if you even can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to go over the road, there's plenty of people who have vans, who looking for drivers. Negotiate with whoever what you feel like you should be compensated. You know what I'm saying? Negotiate with them. You know what I'm saying? I seen people be able to buy their own vehicle, buy their own van by being a driver for somebody else. Because when you're a driver, you're not responsible for fuel, you're not responsible for maintenance, you're not responsible for the van note, or you're not responsible for the insurance. The only thing you covering is your food, and you covering any miscellaneous expenses that you may incur while you doing stuff that's outside the scope of your job. But everything else, you just driving, man. You just driving and getting paid. So yeah, you're not gonna make $2,000, $3,000 a week, but if you can make $1,000 a week, free and clear, $1,500 if you really running up the bag, that's good. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have a lot of debt, you know what I'm saying? Like that money is good money because that's free and clear. That's not fuel coming out of that. That's a let's say you make $4,500 a month. That's free and clear. Like you're not paying anything out of this. That's free. That's all your bread. You should be able to like I say, I don't know people's circumstance, but that's enough to get you started in the industry. But like, you really want to see how you like it. You don't want to get no Sprinter van talking about going over the road. Again, like you don't want to get a Sprinter van talking about going over the road to make money and realize that once you get over the road that you don't like it. You can't move the van because you're trying to be an owner operator. You're trying to dispatch yourself. You got weak authority. Some money is better than no money at all. You know what I'm saying? Because when your authority is bad and it's not seasoned and they're not working with you, and then you try to just move your van because you've been sitting for 2-3 days, and then you take the first thing to come through and you realize, yo, you just took $800, for for 1,000 miles or something crazy like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you people start doing desperate stuff and then not realizing that they ain't made no money. They just lost money by taking this load. You know what I'm saying? Because they've been sitting all week long, burning up gas, eating. I mean, you'll be surprised. You see the stories, man. You see people going in and out of business or whatever because they come in wrong, man. Like if you're trying to go over the road, know if you can do it, right? If you know you a driver, you strong enough driver, you're gonna have to thug it out. Yo, you can make money over the road. You just lease on with somebody. You don't have to have no strong authority. Just lease on with a big carrier. Lease on with a big carrier. Run up under them. Like I said, I was working with Ascent, and after all the expenses they was coming out, I was still coming home on my checks anywhere from $25,000 to $3,000 every single week. You know what I'm saying? After all the insurance and stuff came out, now still, again, I'm paying for my own fuel, my own car note, but the insurance and all that stuff was coming out of the check every week before I got paid. So you can make good money over the road, you can make good money locally, but you just got to figure out how to get in to either one of those lanes to be successful. So the key thing you want to take away from this video is to make sure that locally sign up for all of the local apps before you go out and purchase the van. They'll let you sign up with whatever vehicle you currently have, and then once you get on with those apps, you can see the well, you're not gonna show you everything, but you can see the flow. You can see the loads that's coming out, whether it's gonna be, I'm not sure if they show you like cargo stuff, if you got a car or a truck or something like that, but you'll be able to see what type of loads comes out, and you'll be able to see from other people's videos, like these are the kind of loads that you can expect once you have a cargo van. But the main thing is just to get on the platform, because the biggest thing right now for anybody who's not on the platforms is you may not be able to get on the platforms anytime soon. And so locally, I can't really help you navigate through that. You know what I'm saying? That's just a, something that you're gonna have to deal with right now. Like, if you can't get on the apps, then there's nothing you can do locally. Over the road is why I suggest anybody who trying to get into, if you want to be successful, I suggest anybody who trying to be successful in the industry coming in today is to go the over the road route. If you have never driven over the road like that before, I suggest just being a driver first. That way you can see if you actually can drive those long miles without, getting worn out, because like it's not easy, man. It's not for everybody. You get out there and once they put their load on back of it and you put them coordinates in the GPS and that thing say 22 hours, and you get to driving, and you stopping every 3 hours taking a nap. Like, man, the dispatch gonna be calling you like, yo, you ain't made no progress. You know what I'm saying? Like, this stuff has got to get up the road. And so, I mean, a lot of people get in the industry, man, they really don't expect that it's really like that, because you'll be sitting days sometimes and you'll be like anxious to move, but then when you get the load to move, you know what I'm saying, you still tired because you gotta sleep even when you don't have no load. You gotta make sure you're ready to go at any time, because like sometimes we would just sit there and we would go, to Planet Fitness, we would go work out, and then we would go back to the van, man. It's like 11 in the morning, And we just forced ourselves to go back to sleep because we was just waiting on dispatch to call us, because we know once dispatch call us, we got to be able to drive, at least 10 hours, from the time we get the call. We got to go. You know what I'm saying? We got to get up the road, because when you over the road, one thing you're going to learn, especially if you're driving for another company. You driving for yourself is different. I'll go over that in a sec. But if you driving, if you leased on with a company and they got good loads, they moving you. You got other drivers that's in your region, right? So, you got a queue. So, like say like we going from Michigan to Laredo. Well, I'm trying to get to Laredo as soon as possible, because as soon as I get unloaded, I can get in the queue. And so, I asked you how many drivers down in Laredo? She's always two drivers, but they just got there, so they should be out of there by the time you get there. I was like, well, how many drivers on the way to Laredo? Oh, it's five of y'all on the way to Laredo. Okay, say less. I'm pushing it. I'm driving all night. I'm gonna take my way I drove. I used to drive to midnight, and then I would just take a nap for 2 hours. I would take a 2 hour nap, get up at 2 a.m. And start driving again. And so that I always do that. Like I get sleepy around midnight, and so I just naturally go ahead and take me a nap. Once my alarm clock go off, I set the alarm clock for 2 o'clock. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna get out the car and stretch and stuff like that. It's like 2:45. Like I got like four alarms set. And so by 2:45, I'm ready to go. I'm back on the road. Give me another 4 hours in driving before rush hour traffic hit. Just try to get out of the major cities. I try to plan my sleep to where I'm right outside the city. So when I do wake up, I'm passing the city in the middle of the night, while I don't have to deal with that much traffic through the major cities. But yeah, that's the way to do it. Get plan ahead. Like know that you got a queue. So drive as far as you can, get there as quick as you can. So once you get there, once you get empty, now you can go take a nap, because now you back in the queue and you waiting to get out of there. So that's how you be profitable, and then trying to get that Friday drop off Monday load. You know what I'm saying? So that's just some uh over the road ways to be successful. But again, you can still do local, but you're gonna have to be, if you want to be local and you're gonna have to probably have your authority. I ain't gonna lie, if you really want to be local right now, you got to have your authority, and do regional stuff. Because if you local and you relying on the gig apps and you're not on the gig apps, you're not gonna make no money like that. You know what I'm saying? And so the way it is right now with all of the drivers that's out here, you're gonna have to have your authority. That way you can do um regional stuff. Like for me here in Florida, if I had to have my authority and do it, Florida to Georgia, Georgia to Florida, interior, from Orlando to Miami, Tampa, Jacksonville, Ocala, Gainesville. Like it's so many places. I mean, yeah, they say they don't pay a lot, but for like the local gig market, it pays pretty good. If you comparing like what they saying is low for the low boards, that's high for the gig apps. You know what I'm saying? Like if you ask somebody on the low board to take something from Orlando to Miami for $300, man, they gonna be like, man, you crazy, you smoking crack. We're not we're not driving from Orlando to Miami for $300, but that's on the low board. The low board gonna be paying more. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's low compared to what they, think, because regional stuff usually pay higher. Like, when I used to do short stuff, um from like Michigan to Ohio, or Michigan to North Carolina, something like that, I spend like $700-800 uh for those things. But those same little 6-7 hour uh jobs locally, you know what I'm saying? You get them off of gig apps, you might make $500 that day. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just it's a different ball game. So just understand that your authority is money. So get you an active authority if you want to do local. If you want to do local work in 2026, if you're not on no gig apps, if you're on gig apps, and it's different. You know what I'm saying? You'll figure out a way to navigate your way through it. Nobody got to tell you how to hustle. Like I said, you're gonna have to stay out long, just know that those things add up. You know what I'm saying? Like people be looking at my stuff like, bro, you know what I'm saying? I'm only doing an average about 4 jobs a day. That's it. But I'm averaging $2,000 every single week without working the weekend. Like I don't have to go out tomorrow or Sunday. I already made my 2,000 for the week. You know what I'm saying? I think I did 17 total jobs this week. You know what I'm saying? So you can make money local. It adds up. It adds up, and again, I ain't spending no $500 a week in gas. I ain't driving no, 2,000 miles a week. You know what I'm saying? I'm spending the gas higher right now. So shit, I think I filled up 4 times this week. You know what I'm saying? So maybe $240, you know what I'm saying, in fuel, half of what I would have spent over the road. But again, like, that's how you hustle, man. You gotta have that mentality like you over the road, like you ain't got no hours. You know what I'm saying? You just got a goal in mind. Like, it ain't a daily goal. It's just like, okay, I gotta make sure I work long enough to make enough money to I can get close to meet my goal. So for me, if I know I can make something close to $400 every single day, then I know by Friday I'll be close. If not, if I really had a bad week, you know what I'm saying, where I need to make it up, I can go out on the weekend and make some bread. Like I got plenty of opportunities to make maybe another $400-500 over the weekend. I just don't, choose to go out and work the weekends unless I'm getting ready to go on vacation. Like what was that? I went on vacation 3 weeks ago. And the 2 weeks before I went on vacation, I worked 2 weekends in a row. I did Rody Cross Dot. It was paying $175 a block, so I made $700 working those 4 days. And so I went on the cruise with the family Monday through Friday. I actually went did some gigs Monday morning before we left. I made $400 before I got on the cruise ship. Boarded the cruise ship at noon. Made $400. Got home by 10 o'clock in the morning. Loaded up everybody, went to the port, got on the boat by noon. But that's $700 plus the $400. That's $1,100 that I made extra. You know what I'm saying? Just because I know I was gonna miss a good 4 days work because of cruise Monday through Friday. So what time we got, man? Yeah, we on 47 minutes. So yeah, man. So this video, man, is to try to help anybody who's thinking about getting into the industry. Just know that, man, right now locally you can make just as much as anybody over the road if you are already situated. If you're not situated, don't let these people fool you. Don't pay for nobody's course. Don't pay for anything like that, man. Let them people tell you that you can go make $2,000-3,000 locally if you're not already signed up. And if you want to go get contracts, there are local contracts you can get with some of these people. But the thing is, if you're doing, I thought that the reason why everybody got into the cargo van industry and wanted to be an owner operator is because you didn't want to have a job. The moment you go sign your name on somebody's contract, saying that you're going to be here at a certain time every day, Monday through Friday, you got another job, but you don't have no benefits. You know what I'm saying? So, I can't help you with anything contract related, or because for me, I don't want to know what I'm doing tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Every day I wake up, I just know my alarm clock set for 4 a.m. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Once I get up in the morning, then whatever happens, happens. And if one day I'm not feeling good, I want to go home early, I'm going home early. I don't want to hear nothing about I got to be here from a certain amount of time. So I can't help you with that. There is some people who can, you got contract. I had several contract offers for like dedicated tire route, dedicated V-hole route, dedicated what's the other company? It was like a furniture furniture company over there by Universal. Like it been several different opportunities I had, but like I told them, like, man, respectfully, like I just don't like to have anything like dedicated, because like I kind of just like having my freedom of choosing what job to take and starting when I want to start. Like I got my alarm clock set for 4 a.m. But guess what? If I get up at 4 a.m. And I ain't feeling it or the night before, like if it was like if tonight was Thursday and not Friday, and I didn't have anything planned for the morning, and I was watching Thursday night football and I had too much to drink, but I just wouldn't. I would just turn my alarm off and then just wake up in the morning when I wake up. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the freedom you have when you're owner operator, when you don't go out and sign no contract, if you don't get no dedicated route. It is, potentially more money involved when you get a dedicated route because you get consistency. But at the same time, like I said, it's a job. And then the moment you don't, the moment you do not, the moment you start trying to take time off and get somebody to fill your route is the moment you lose your route. You know what I'm saying? So now you be the neglected the other apps, and now you're not active on those, and maybe you got moved out the algorithm, or maybe they even put you in that. However it works, you know what I'm saying. I just know that I'm not trying to get nobody's route. I don't want nobody dedicated contract. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all can go out and get the contracts. I think there's a few channels out there that will show you how to go out and get the contract. But I wouldn't pay nobody. I wouldn't pay nobody for any information, man. Any information you want in this industry, you can get off of YouTube, or you can go on Indeed or any of these job search applications and look for what you want. While you driving around the city, man, just look at these warehouses, look at these company trucks that got logos on the side, man. Research anything you can. Go to the airport area and look at all those warehouses and see what names they got on. Go out and research them, because I know personally, and I don't even say the name of them, but it's like 2 places that I pick up from the airport. Like, yo, that's an easy 30,000 a year that I make just from that one little company. You know what I'm saying? But I don't got no contract with them. I just know, where they at, and I just go over there, and I just and I get dispatched the order. You know what I'm saying? Like it's several apps that use them. You know what I'm saying? Airspace, like I joined Airspace, and like, I'll be like, I know the order's coming out, but like I don't know what's wrong with these people, bro. Like, like these apps are unreliable. So that's why you gotta have all of them. Like, I might get one order a month on Airspace, but I go over to where I know the company used the Airspace at, and they got like 2 other apps they use. And I'll be like, yo, what time y'all got something coming out? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, then coming out today, I bet. You know what I'm saying? I just hang out around the areas where I know stuff coming out at. You know what I'm saying? And so you don't gotta have no contracts for these people, bro. Like I said, the moment you start having contracts, you got a new job. You're responsible for filling that route. You try to find other drivers, and then what happens when you find another driver? Oh, they figure out you got a contract with these people. How much you charging? Why they gonna try to undercut you? Now you lose the contract. Now you ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? So now I leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? Like I leave it alone. I'm cool, I'm comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like to have a side hustle like this in a cargo van, man, when I can legit make 120,000 a year in just one cargo van, play. And then anything I do with, like I said, anything I do with real estate is extra. If I do 6 deals a year, man, that's $70,000 in just real estate, on top of the 100 and some thousand you make in the cargo van. So like I ain't trying to go out and get nobody contract. Everybody who do logistics should also think about other hustles to go along with it, because you're not dedicated to anything, right? It's a full-time job, but at the same time it's still a side hustle. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have no set hours. So just find something you can do along with that. I don't care if it's whether you're an investor, whether you invest in house flipping, or you invest in cryptocurrency, whatever you invest in. There's so many things you can do off of this, man. Content creation, travel advisory, like it's a bunch of different side hustles you can get going, and along with the cargo van industry, as long as you stay independent, man. As long as you don't start signing no contracts and getting dedicated routes and start having to dispatch your own. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to go into this industry, bro. Like, take it slow. First year, trying to survive, man. Just start off slow. You know what I'm saying? Start off slow. The easiest way, like I said, get leased on with somebody, go over the road. You know what I'm saying? If you want to stay local, You're gonna have to get your authority. You're gonna have to stay regional. You know what I'm saying? Take the loads that nobody want, but just know that them same loads, if they was on the gig apps, they would be paying probably 40% less than what the load board paying. So it's companies that'll work with you. Landstar. When I first got my authority, I had it for 2 weeks. Landstar uh let me take day loads. You know what I'm saying? So it's different companies we use, man. You don't have to have no 6 months or whatever. But again, if you got too much debt, bro, you're gonna go out of business. You know what I'm saying? I seen too many people turning their vans because they got too much debt. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter how much money you make, but if you got to get out here and you got to hustle to the point where you have to make 2,000, 3,000 a week in order just to pay your bills, you out of business already, man. That's not a healthy situation to be in, bro, because it ain't always gonna be like that. Like, you can always make $2,000, but it's gonna be hard to continue that because, like, when you want to go on vacation, what happens when you want to go on vacation? You can't take off. You got to work every week. Remember, you got to make 2,000 minimum every week just to make your bills. So if you go on vacation for a week, you take a week off, you ain't made no 2,000. Now you 2,000 in the hole. Now you going back to work in the hole, and now you trying to, I gotta make 3,000 a week this month just to make up. Well, shit, you might have a bad week. You might make 1,500 one week. You know what I'm saying? You get stuck somewhere, Idaho, some crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, now you like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Now you you $3,000 in the hole. Like, man, it's nah, bro. Don't start this business with too much debt. Don't pay nobody for no classes because these people be charging these crazy ass prices for these classes and they ain't teaching you nothing. All you gotta do is watch enough YouTube videos, dive into it, whatever you want to search, just type it in the search bar, a video will pop up, watch the video, that video go off, go find another video with that same topic. And when you start hearing the same things over and over and over, then you know you're on the right path. But I'm telling you right now, if you're trying to go local and you are not already signed on with these logistics companies, with these gig apps, you are not going to be able to just go get a van and get busy. You're going to be on the wait list. So the easiest opportunity and the only opportunity that I feel like for you to be successful in 2026, starting a cargo van business, is by getting your authority and starting leasing on with a company. Move the van in order to make your bread, learn the industry, and then once you feel comfortable, start branching out on your own, maybe dispatch for yourself. Then you can start moving some pieces around. But that's the best route to take, bro. But again, come into it with as little as that as possible. If you could trade in your personal vehicle to get the van, that's the best route. Limit your expenses. That way you're not worried about covering 2-3 car notes, and where we at on the video time? 58. Yeah, we right at the time. Do less than an hour. So yeah, we're gonna end this live, bro. We're gonna start doing more videos. I definitely wanna get back active with the channel, but I just don't I just honestly I don't like posting the reels and stuff where I'm showing what I made every day and this and that, because like locally you get people to start figuring out your patterns, and then it can get saturated locally, right? Like, you can't saturate over the road. There's so many loads out there on the load board. You can't saturate over the road unless you working with a specific company that has way too many drivers and they can't dispatch everybody properly. But locally, you can saturate your own market, right? So I don't like really posting those type videos anymore, but we will be doing more informative lives and just talking about the industry as a whole. And what I do notice is, like, a lot of people in this industry is also in like the travel space, and I'm a big traveler. And so we're gonna dive into a bunch of them. And I think the next big thing I got coming up, and I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do for Halloween. I'm looking at either Santo Domingo, Punta Cana. We was looking at Colombia, but everything's shaking over there. You know what I'm saying? I had multiple earthquakes, so Yeah, I don't think we're gonna keep Colombia on the table, but probably Santo Domingo, Punta Cana, or we'll figure out something. But yeah, we're gonna end this live. We're right at the hour mark, and I'll see you guys on the next one.